Hey, what's up? And come on into our downtown Phoenix studios and join us for another jam-packed November episode of Cronkite Sports Live. I'm Chaz Frazier, joined alongside Eliav Gabay.
Chaz, it's our last show together, and it's been such a fantastic season. Only thing left to do is to take a play out of the ASU Triathlon playbook and finish championship strong.
Let's do it, man.
So let's start off on the right foot of this episode with some stats from ASU football's blowout win over Oregon State. As you see the quarter breakdown there, ASU got off to a 30-0 start, and Oregon State made it interesting at the end, but ASU ended up winning 40-24. Some stats for you. QB Manny Wilkins for ASU, 12 of 19, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns, a QBR of 89.9. Running back Demario Richard for ASU, 17 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. He is a man on a mission running that football. And then from the defensive line, JoJo Wicker, 1.5 tackles for loss, 1 fumble recovered. A great job by Wicker. And on the Beavers end, we got QB Daryl Garrettson, 26 of 37, 269 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And then tight end Noah Togiagi, 5 receptions, 88 yards. It was Oregon State senior night, but ASU took over 40-24 to become bowl eligible.
Thanks, Eliav, for those detailed stats of ASU's 40-24 victory over the Oregon State Beavers. That was their 6th. Now they're bowl eligible, Jack. By now, you guys should know who this man is. I kind of just introduced him. But for the few of you guys that don't, this is Jack Harris, our WCSN football reporter. Let's talk this past weekend. I mean, part of the big win was the rushing attack. Demario Richard, 17 carries for over 100 yards. How was he so effective on the ground?
Yeah, well, it started quick for Demario Richard. His first 3 carries netted the Sun Devils 36 yards. And it started the day on the ground for ASU. We'll bring up the stats now. They were dominant running the football in Corvallis this weekend. There was Demario Richard. He had over 100 yards. Kalen Balazs had over 100 yards. And as a team, you can see 286 yards on the ground for the Sun Devils. That helped them build that 30-0 lead in the first half. And then in the second half, when Oregon State started playing better, started showing some fight. Look, the Sun Devils averaged almost 6 yards a carry in this game. That helps you milk away the win. And again, a big 6 win to get them to bowl eligibility.
Yeah, they were pounding the rock on the ground. But now let's transition to a big week for the Sun Devils. They welcome in the Wildcats for the Territorial Cup matchup. But let's backtrack a little bit. Last year, the Sun Devils, I'm sure they still have a bitter taste in their mouth because they fell to the Wildcats. What do they need to learn from last year's performance in order to win this one?
Well, if I have to put it in one word, it's tackling. Tackling was a huge issue last year. We'll bring up the highlights now. And right from the get-go, this was the first drive of the game in Tucson last year. A big run because of missed tackles downfield. For the Sun Devils, it wasn't just that they weren't getting by their blocks on the offensive line. It's that the linebackers and the defensive backfield, they didn't make the tackles when they had the chance. It led to so many big plays for Arizona. That was a real problem last year, and it's been a problem this year too. We've seen the likes of Bryce Love and Rashad Penny really have their way with the Sun Devils when they get into the second level. So again, if you're going to look back at last year's game, I know not many Sun Devil fans want to, that's the biggest lesson to take away going into this year's matchup.
For a team that needs to work on tackling, I don't think this is the week where they need to be messing around because the Sun Devils are bringing in Khalil Tate. He's phenomenal all over the ground. What makes him such a dynamic runner at the quarterback position, Jack?
Yeah, well, you mentioned it. We'll bring up some film now for Khalil Tate. And there's a little bit of a difference when you have a good running quarterback. You can see here, this is against Colorado for the Wildcats. Colorado puts 8 guys in the box, but when your quarterback can run, look, it frees up the running back to set that seal block. The tight end also sets a block, and it opens up a lot of space on the perimeter for Khalil Tate to run to. What ends up happening here is you get an extra blocker when your quarterback can run like that. Another play here where he has to deal with a couple Colorado linebackers, but he's so elusive. He can do a little sidestep. His offensive line opens up a hole in the middle, and he turns on the Jets and takes it to the house. Look, we've seen a lot of talented running backs in the Pac-12, but ASU hasn't faced a quarterback quite like Khalil Tate. It's a different challenge for them this week, and a tough one at that.
Yeah, this ASU defense is definitely going to have their hands full with Khalil Tate. But if ASU wants to have any chance of winning this Territorial Cup matchup, what are they going to need to do?
Well, I think the biggest thing the Sun Devils need to do is run the ball themselves. The best way to stop Khalil Tate, keep him on the sideline. And when ASU's run the ball effectively this year, it's led to them having more snaps than their opponents. That will be a key thing. Another key thing will be turnovers. If the Sun Devils can contain Khalil Tate just a little bit here, we'll bring up the stats now. You'll see U of A is not a great passing team. They also aren't a great secondary when it comes to keeping opponents' passing games low on yardage. What they do well is they intercept the ball. They have one of the best interception rates in the Pac-12. So for the Sun Devils, like I said, running the football will be very key, keeping U of A's dynamic offense on the sideline, and then taking care of the football and not giving the Wildcats any short fields. It's going to be tough. It's one of their toughest matchups this year, I think. Added in that it's a rivalry game, they're going to have to play fundamentally sound, unlike what they did last season.
All righty, to wrap this segment up, I'm probably going to ask you one of the hardest questions you've had to answer. Is Todd Graham's coaching job safe if he loses against the Wildcats this weekend?
Well, Chaz, that's probably the $10 million question, isn't it? Because that's Todd Graham's buyout right now. If he does get fired this weekend, I think if he loses to U of A, there's a very real chance that it could be his last game in Tempe. Look, before the season, a lot of people said if he can get to 6 wins, he probably gets to keep his job for another year. But I think if you look at the way they've gotten to these 6 wins, it hasn't been great. They struggled in non-conference play. Impressive wins at the time against Washington and Oregon and Utah. They don't look so impressive anymore. And I think it hasn't helped that U of A's really had a promising and a season that not many people expected them to have because of Khalil Tate. I think if they come into Sun Devil Stadium this weekend, beat their rivals down south, show that the program is still headed in the right direction, and get to 7 wins, then he probably stays. If not, like I said, could be his last time coaching the Sun Devils. It
sounds like more than bragging rights are on the line for this territorial matchup this weekend for Todd Graham. But you can catch all his work on CronkiteSports.com. We'll be there this weekend to bring you guys all the coverage of the Territorial Cup matchup.
Bobby Hurley and Sun Devil Hoops are off to a hot start this season. How hot? They're 4-0 and have won by an average margin of 24.5 points. Even though their opponents haven't been incredibly challenging, ASU has not let its foot off the gas pedal. Before they head to Las Vegas for the Continental Tire Invitational, they made sure to take care of business at home. Let's send it over to Wells Fargo Arena, where WCSN men's basketball reporters Rob Warner and Chancellor Johnson have more on Arizona State's victorious weekend.
Hello there and welcome to just outside Wells Fargo Arena alongside Chancellor Johnson. I'm Rob Warner, where Arizona State just took down the UC Irvine Anteaters 99-78 behind Trey Holder's 35 points. Chance, how was Trey Holder able to be so effective today?
Yeah, Trey had it going from the tip, and it's important to note he was efficient from the floor as well. 13 of 15 from the field, and then also 6 of 7 from deep. And the team kind of goes how Trey goes. When he's playing well, ASU is playing well also.
And Chance, it looks like after these first 4 games, each game it's a different starter stepping up, really helping get the win for the team. How important is it that the starters keep producing the way they have been?
Oh, it's very important, but I think it kind of goes to a testament to how versatile this team is. One day it's the bigs, the next it's a guard like we saw today with Trey Holder, and they'll need more of that heading into this next tournament.
And you mentioned this next tournament, Chance. ASU now heads up to Las Vegas to play in the Continental Tire Invitational on Thanksgiving. They're going to face Kansas State in the first game. What do they have to do to be successful against that Big 12 opponent?
Well, Big 12 opponents are normally very physical, and Kansas State is no different. They're going to have some very solid post players, so DeQuan Link and Romello White are going to have to step up if they want to get things done. And we'll get a chance to see how good this team really is. They played some easier opponents early, but now they get into the tougher part of their schedule, so we'll get to see what this team is really made of.
And ASU looks to take down Kansas State and move to 5-0 on the short season so far. Reporting in Tempe alongside Chancellor Johnson, I'm Rob Warner, Cronkite Sports.
What would you do if something you love so much was suddenly taken away from you? That's a tough question that we all have to answer at some point of our lifetime. Well, for Allie Moon, that question knocked on her door last season as she was forced to medically retire from playing Division I college soccer after suffering multiple concussions over 2 seasons. But Moon didn't get bitter. Instead, she decided to give back to the program that gave so much to her. We introduced you to Moon a couple weeks ago when she was honored on senior night in a special way, but Andre Sims has her full story on this week's Sun Devil Sit Down.
So we're going to start back at the beginning. Out of high school, you were a very, very decorated, very talented player coming out of high school. So what was it about ASU and this program that made you say, this is where I want to play my college soccer?
I think when I came on my unofficial visit, I got to meet Scotty and a couple of the administrators, and I just really liked the family-oriented vibe that I got from ASU. I liked everything that the student-athlete side of things offered, from all of the extra tutoring and things that they give us to the study hall areas so we can focus on our schooling. And then as a soccer part, getting to come and be a part of a program that is trying to improve and get better, and getting to be a part of that transformation was a big reason why I chose to come here.
fast forward to your sophomore year. You're playing UC Berkeley here in Tempe, and ball comes into the box. UC Berkeley's goalkeeper's coming out, you're coming in, and due to some unfortunate circumstances, you ended up taking what would have been a fist to the ball to your face. So what do you remember about that?
Honestly, I just, remember seeing the ball and wanting to score, because at that point I believe we were still tied. And so, it was just, that's how I play in general. That play wasn't any different than anything I had done in my career up to that point. So, I just remember going up for it and unfortunately getting punched, which, it happens. And then obviously having to be spine boarded just as a precaution and going to the hospital, which was pretty interesting and a very unique experience. So
ASU Soccer still honored you on what would have been your senior day this year. So when you found out about that and you were getting to still get to be honored with the girls that you came in with as a freshman, what was that like for you?
It was awesome. I honestly, when they started talking about senior day stuff, like I hadn't planned on being a part of it in any way, just kind of being there and supporting those girls, because obviously I've gone through all 4 years with them. So like them allowing me to be a part of their day it meant a lot to me. It was very special. We have this tradition of decorating lockers, and they decorated one for me even though like I don't have one. So they made me feel very a part of it, and it was a special day, just in that.
And then, of course, I have the video of your brother surprising you.
Yeah, that was, I still don't even have words for it. I literally had no idea that it was gonna happen. I mean, I'm not surprised he pulled it off, but I didn't know that he was going to be around. The last time I talked to him, he was like telling me that he couldn't get leave off to come over here, and the next time I would see him was maybe Christmas. If not, it'd be next May. So it was awesome getting to have him surprise me.
So what's the next step for Allie Moon?
Right now, I'll be staying an extra semester to help coach again, so I'll be around next fall, and then after that, wherever life takes me, whatever door opens, I'll walk through it. So
awesome. Thank you so much for taking this time to sit down and talk to me. That was another edition of Sun Devils Sit Down. Thanks again, Allie Moon, for taking the time. I'm Andre Sims. Thanks for watching.
While the success of men's basketball may come as a surprise to some, ASU Women's Basketball's early season dominance was expected, and they haven't disappointed. They're number 24 in the country, and they're off to an undefeated start in their first 4 games. And to chat about what's been clicking, we welcome on WCSN women's basketball expert Alex Gall. Alex, thanks for being here, and let's go right into it. What simply has been working early on?
Well, they've really had a dominant post presence in Kiana Ibis. And what tends to happen when you have a dominant post presence means she's been able to get down low and open up the floor for ASU. They have a number of good shooters in Robbie Ryan, Sabrina Haynes, and because she's been able to have a dominant post presence in the early going through these first 4 games, it's really opened up the floor for the rest of their shooters, and it's going to bode well for them come this conference season.
Now, this team has some experienced players. You already mentioned Haynes and Ibis, but they also have some newcomers. Which newcomers have made the biggest impact?
Well, I think that has to be Courtney Ekmark, the transfer from UConn, obviously a redshirt junior, sitting out the entirety of last season. But because she's been a redshirt and she's coming on to this team, she provides them with a balanced scoring attack. She hasn't been scoring from deep 0 of 9 in her first 9 attempts throughout this season, but she's been slashing to the rim well, and she provides them with a nice balanced scoring attack, a lot that they're going to need come the conference season.
Now, the Devils have the Cancun Challenge this Thanksgiving weekend, one that Alex and I wish we were at, and then host the ASU Classic next week. Do you see them keeping up the strong pace? I know maybe not undefeated, but a strong pace nonetheless.
Well, I definitely think they do, and Coach Charlie Turner-Thorne has talked about this because they've been going through a grueling schedule. They played 2 games back-to-back last weekend. Now they have 3 games over the Thanksgiving holiday, and next week they host the ASU Classic. So when you talk about they're not playing the highest caliber teams, they are playing a lot of teams, and because of this grueling schedule, it's going to be valuable for them once they get to the Pac-12.
Thanks, Alex. Great, as always, for all of his content. You can check out CronkiteSports.com. Now, from a team that's winning on the court to a team that's losing on the ice, ASU Men's Hockey was swept by number 15 Penn State this weekend, and WCSN men's hockey reporter Gabe Mercer was at Gila River Arena for all the action.
After being swept by number 15 Penn State this past weekend, it's clear Arizona State hockey is still struggling to find its footing. ASU got off to a rough start Friday night, suffering a 7-0 loss at Gila River Arena. Then Saturday, the Sun Devils fought back to suffer just a 4-2 defeat from the Nittany Lions. Head coach Greg Powers noted he was frustrated with the team's performance Friday night and didn't hesitate to let them know that.
Tonight we're down 2 going into the third. Last night we're down 2 going into the third, and we knew tonight we could come back and win this game. And I feel like our guys left everything they had on the ice. They had a really good, hard third period. Tons of pressure on them in the last 5 minutes, and we just couldn't buy one.
Goaltender Joey Decord echoed Powers' frustration, but discussed the improvement they saw from Friday to Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we were right there. It was 3-2 till the end. You know, we could have scored right there. Had a couple really good looks there. Goalie made a nice save. We were right there with them. It's a really good team over there, so we were happy with how we played. Just didn't go our way tonight.
By the end of the evening Saturday, Decord posted 45 saves on 48 shots, his third game in the last 5 starts with 40-plus saves. Friday's shutout was the second the Sun Devils have seen this season, the other coming from an 0-3 loss to Colgate. Freshman Johnny Walker and freshman Dom Garcia were able to contribute to the goals scored Saturday night, getting assists on the first goal of the night scored by Brett Gruber.
I was going to throw it on net, and I heard Groobs yell for it, so I figured I'd throw it to an area where he might be. So, and he had a nice finish there, so it was a good way to start the game and get things started on the right foot tonight.
Even with several new faces on the team, there hasn't been much visual improvement on paper from the team from last season. Last season, at this same time, after also suffering a sweep from Penn State, the Sun Devils were still sitting at 2 wins and 11 losses. However, this season, the Sun Devils still have several tough opponents ahead on their schedule, seeing many more ranked teams compared to last season. Despite the tough weekend and possibly difficult next few weeks, Power continued to emphasize how important the process is with a young team like ASU.
All you can ask as a new program is your goalie to give you a chance to win every night, and really, with the exception of 2 games this season, we've had a chance to win every night, and we got to be process focused, as cliche as it is. We cannot be focused on just the result with those kids, and we can build off that effort, especially in the third period. If they play to our identity like they did, we'll start to find some success, and it'll translate to wins.
Following their sweep by Penn State, Arizona State moves to 2-8-2 on the season. Now next weekend, Arizona State will head to Massachusetts to face Holy Cross. In Glendale, Gabe Mercer, Cronkite Sports.
If you watched the first 3 sets of the ASU volleyball match against Colorado this past Saturday, your reaction was probably like this if you were chilling in your living room. Yes, we're on our way to winning our first conference match. But if you kept watching, you probably ultimately ended up looking like this, reaching up at the sky in your living room saying, what in the world? We almost won our first match. Yes, ASU volleyball was so close to having its first win in conference play after dropping 17 in a row. Get this, the Sun Devils were leading 22-19 in set 4 with a 2-1 game lead. But after a kill was overturned by officials, ASU lost 25-23, which ultimately led to the team dropping their final set against the Buffs. ASU volleyball is now 0-18 in Pac-12 play. Hold on, all hope is not lost though. They still have matches left against Washington State and the U of A. Now, let's transition over to the ice, where ASU Women's Hockey has also been struggling as they lost their weekend series against the Midland Warriors. Our Troy Tauscher has the weekend recap for you.
1, 2, 3, double! After playing 4 games in Colorado, the Arizona State women's hockey team was back home at Oceanside Ice Arena last weekend with 2 games against number 11 Midland. While the Sun Devils were able to keep the first period of Friday's game close, they surrendered 3 goals in the second and were unable to catch up. Senior captain Amber Gallus found the net in the third period, but it was too little too late as the Sun Devils fell 5-1.
I think it was a lot closer than the score showed tonight. We had just a couple easy mistakes that happened on late changes or, just spatial awareness on the ice where we were out there and we left some players open for some breakaways. So, essentially if you take those away, it's a 2-goal game, and it was a lot closer than the score shows, especially with that empty netter at the end. People are going to see 5-1, but it wasn't a 5-1 game.
Saturday was Military Appreciation Night at Oceanside, and Arizona State came out looking far stronger than they had the day before. Gallus once again was the leader for the Sun Devils offense, notching a goal early in the first period to help the Sun Devils take a 1-0 lead. Gallus now leads the team in goals scored and is tied for the lead in points.
We all just kind of worked together today. It was a lot better again. We got each other passes, shots on net, rebounds. We were all there pushing, so that first goal really pumped everybody up.
With a 2-2 tie headed into the third period, Arizona State looked like it might be within striking distance of its first win since October 14th. However, a pair of goals by the Warriors secured Midland the sweep and dropped ASU to 3-8-1 on the season. For head coach Lindsay Ellis and her squad, it was a time to take away lessons about how the Sun Devils can improve going forward.
You have to take everything one game at a time, and unfortunately a lot of our games are very close together for this month, but just being able to learn from every single game, no matter what the outcome of the game is, being able to learn and improve every single game.
With 10 games remaining in the regular season, the Sun Devils are still well in the playoff conversation, but the elusive win that gets them in won't be coming at least until December 8th against GCU. Reporting from Oceanside Ice Arena, I'm Troy Tauscher, Cronkite Sports.
Let's switch it up and have some fun now with Sun Devil social media. Joining us now is Nick Batters, VP. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Only 2 weeks left, though, as VP.
That's right. He is the heir to the kingdom.
Looking forward to it, too.
All right. Well, let's see what you got.
Got a lot of good stuff on social media this week. I have to say, it was tough to pick just 3 things to show you, but I think I did social media well, and we'll have some fun today. So the first tweet I have is from Doug Tamaro, SID extraordinaire. He posted this picture of a MacBook charger and said, "Me love when media rush out. More laptop chargers got more than Radio Shack." So, fun fact for you guys, Doug Tamaro and the Media Relations Department at ASU are the reason that there are only 28 Radio Shacks left in the country. But I gotta ask, what do you guys think of the fact that Sun Devil Media Relations is operating a secret Radio Shack out of the Sun Devil Stadium?
I don't know. I just need to know, where is he stashing this at? Because I need to give, you know how you have to give the secret knocks on the door sometimes, so I got to give 2, 1, yell, whatever I need to do, because those iPad computer chargers are hard to come by. I need one of those.
Yeah, Apple is not cheap, and yeah, I'm going to hit you up, Doug.
So, Doug, hey, and if someone saw that picture on social media, maybe they could get the laptop charger back. Doug has a good reach. So for the next tweet, it's going to take a little bit of explaining, a few seconds to get to, so we'll take a deep breath and it'll be worth the wait, I promise. So for some background first, a familiar fellow on this segment, ASU baseball head coach Tracy Smith, he was a guest coach for ASU wrestling this weekend when they wrestled at Gamage. He tweeted some stuff, the team tweeted some stuff, even the NWCA got in on the action. But here's where it gets good. So Sun Devil Wrestling sent out a tweet saying, "Hey, do you need another reason to come to Gamage on Sunday?" He's not going to be wearing a singlet, but Skip is taking a break from coaching ASU baseball to be our guest coach. They then quote tweeted that saying, "Hey, we can arrange him getting into a singlet, but he needs to work his way up, beginning with an NCAA All-American." Now, we actually did see Skip get into a singlet, but this reply stood out to me. A guy named Frank Slate replied to this quote tweet saying, "How about not telling Coach Smith that the matches have moved to Gamage and let him sit in Wells Fargo alone? We don't need that loser around a good, on the verge of great program." Okay, guys, another deep breath. This next tweet is the one that I wanted to ask you guys about. So Skip quote tweeted this response from Frank and let him know he was too late, saying, "Too late, I will be at Gamage ready to root on the Grappling Devils. Plus, wouldn't you rather be a loser than a loser, Frank?" So guys, we wish there was an edit button on Twitter, but I have to ask, which ASU coach would you be least comfortable calling you out on your spelling on Twitter?
Well, I'm going to go with Tracy Smith. I mean, maybe most comfortable, honestly. I'll take that back because, shout out Cronkite. He corrected some grammar. I think we'll all be okay with that. But yeah, he's as savage as they come on Twitter. So Tracy Smith, definitely look out for him.
I don't know. For me, I think it's going to be defensive coordinator for ASU football, Phil Bennett. I mean, the way he yells at those guys out in the field, I mean, he's screaming at the top of his lungs. If he was shouting out over the Twitter airs, I don't think I would want that.
You already know that those tweets are going to be in all caps, no doubt.
I agree with you. Literally, any of the football coaches, I don't want correcting me on social media. I'll stay as far away from that as possible. So the last thing that I have, we're going to stick with baseball, but we're going to switch it to a different social media platform. We're headed to Instagram. ASU third baseman Carter Aldretti, he posted this picture a couple days ago with his tongue sticking out. The caption, "Did someone say holiday cooking?" So Guys, Thanksgiving's coming up in just 3 days this Thursday. What holiday dish are you most looking forward to eating?
Listen, I'm a simple man. I'm going with the turkey. I'm just excited for that, excited for the festivities, and excited for being thankful. So come on now.
No. You're all wrong. I'm going to tell you, the best thing is my mom's baked macaroni and cheese.
Okay.
Anybody who wants to take me up on that offer, just come on over to the crib, and I promise you won't be disappointed.
No, it's the same for me. I love me some mac and cheese. I'm just looking forward to Thanksgiving and having a reason to eat lots and lots of food.
Oh yeah, oh my God, those food combos are gonna hit us hard.
Totally worth it.
But before we get to Thanksgiving, we have to head out to the gridiron where there's just 1 week remaining in Pac-12 play and the standings are starting to solidify. For this week's Impact, Scotty Gaines gives us an update on the latest stories and news around the Conference of Champions. Scotty, take it away.
Thanks, guys. As the long and unpredictable Pac-12 regular season is in its final week, there's still a lot that needs to be played out. USC finished their conference play in style Saturday, defeating their longtime rival UCLA 28-23 at the Coliseum, ending their season atop the Pac-12 South with a conference record of 8-1. One day after their third consecutive loss to USC, UCLA announced the firing of head coach Jim Mora. Mora was treated to the news of his $12 million buyout on the morning of his 56th birthday this past Sunday. Offensive coordinator Jed Fish will take over as interim head coach for the 5-6 Bruins. In the North, with Stanford beating the California Bears in the big game Saturday, the Washington Huskies are officially out of contention for the Pac-12 championship. This weekend's Apple Cup between Washington and Washington State will determine who will battle the Trojans in San Francisco. The Cougars of Washington State control their own destiny by having the head-to-head win over Stanford. If Washington State wins, then they punch their ticket to the championship game in hopes of beating USC for the second time this season. A Washington win would result in Stanford representing the North, as they have finished with a 7-2 overall conference record. This weekend will feature 3 historic rivalry matchups. The Apple Cup, Civil War, and Territorial Cup will keep Pac-12 fans very happy all weekend. Though it does not look like any Pac-12 team will be represented in the college football playoff, the 2017 season left fans nothing short of surprise, excitement, and greatness from the Conference of Champions. Guys, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Scotty. Fantastic debut. While college football is wrapping up, college gymnastics is just getting warmed up. ASU Gymnastics had their first open inter-squad meet this past Saturday. Freshman Cairo Leonard Baker and junior transfers Kaylin Sofransky and Ann Coombs stood out as newcomers to keep an eye on this coming season. Leonard Baker and Coombs will most likely be all-around competitors for the Gem Devils, while Sofransky is projected to compete in the vault and floor lineups. All 3 will bring much-needed power and all-around skill to ASU's team. Their next inter-squad meet will be Friday, December 15th at Wells Fargo Arena.
Number 5 Sun Devil Wrestling dropped their first 2 matches of the season against Michigan and Ohio State. But yesterday they were back at home hosting number 22 Pitt for a little grappling at Gammage, where they took care of business, winning 32-6. Ryan Miloff got things started on the afternoon by pinning his opponent, giving ASU the early lead. This was a total team effort as Josh Shields won his match by decision. And of course, the big names for the Sun Devils, Tanner Hall and the undefeated Zahid Valencia, went to work winning their matches convincingly. ASU will be back in action this Sunday as they will welcome him in South Dakota for a 12 p.m. match time.
All right, everyone, for the last time for us, it's going to be the way it is. You know, it's our favorite segment, and the way it works is 3 questions are posed to us. We'll debate our answers. The producers pick who gets to rant. So, Chaz, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's see who goes out as a winner.
Oh, my God, let's do this. What's more valuable for the men's basketball team? Guard play or big men play?
Yeah, come on, Eliav. This is an easy one. I thought you were going to throw me a hard one. It's the big play. I mean, come on. Going into this year, what was the biggest question for Bobby Hurley and this team? Where are the bigs which bigs are gonna contribute? Yeah. The guard play, we already knew that was gonna be phenomenal. But this year, through 2 games, Lake and Romello White are averaging just under 40 points and 17 rebounds and 4.3 blocks combined. That's huge for this team.
Well, I'm going to use your answer against you.
Okay.
We already knew the guard play was going to be phenomenal. Doesn't mean it's not more important. The reason I say that is because the success of this team, it all depends on the guard play, and that is on and off the court. They are the leaders of this team as well, so the guard play is huge.
All right, let's stay on the court, but let's transition to ASU Womens Basketball. Which player has impressed you throughout this 4-game winning streak?
I'm going to go with Kiana Ibis. Ibis, she has been terrific. She's already eclipsed her career high twice, 16 points on the first game and 20 points in their last game, their 4th win. She has been fantastic. And you talk about the big man, she offers a low post presence for that team that lost Quinn Dornstar and Sophie Bruner, so she's been fantastic.
All right, I'm going to break the rules here, and I don't care. I don't have one just player. I'm going to talk about this team collectively.
Oh, he's gonna marked off for that one.
That's true. But come on, Johnson Chapman, Robbie Ryan, Sabrina Haynes, they all averaged around 10 points. I mean, this team together as a collective unit, they're playing phenomenal. So it was too hard to pick one. I'm gonna say the whole unit. Charlie Turner-Thorne has this team playing phenomenal through their 4-game winning streak. Now to close us off, who do you have winning this Territorial Cup this Saturday?
Oh man, all right. I'm sorry, ASU fans. U of A is going to walk away with the win. I have 2 words for you. Khalil Tate. That's all. Need I say more?
That was a short one, but I'm going to go with ASU. But I have some keys if ASU wants to win. I don't think there's going to be much defense played in this. It's going to be a high-scoring game. But for ASU, they struggled in the red zone. They're going to need to convert touchdowns in order to outscore this Wildcat team. Yeah. If they can outscore this Wildcat team, I think they're going to walk away with the win. Now let's see who our producer
The last dub.
To be a winner. Let's see.
The last dub. Come on.
Give it to okay.
Money in the bank. Let's go.
You deserve it. Go ahead, man.
As we mentioned, Arizona State volleyball has been bad. Really, really bad. They have lost 18 straight matches. More specifically, they've only won 13 sets total in conference play. The toughest part for ASU fans to accept, they most likely won't win in their last 2 matches either, including the Territorial Cup. Why am I bashing ASU volleyball? Because while the program is in one of its worst seasons in history, moving forward, it can only truly go up from here. With an entirely new coaching staff and only 8 returning players to start the season, they were not exactly set up for success. This is a young team. 9 of the 16 players on the roster are freshmen or sophomores. In addition to that, head coach Tanya Tomasevich is a solid coach with the right mentality for the future outlook of this program. While it doesn't look like it, there's plenty to look forward to for this squad. And that's the way it is.
All right, let's head out to the gridiron for our top plays. At number 3, Demario Richard for the 17-yard TD run. Oh my goodness, he was balling on the day. 3 on that day against Oregon State. He has 10 on the year. Phenomenal. Look at that hole wide open, and he does the rest for his team.
He's been relentless. Now at number 2, Trey Holder. 4-3 and his career high 35 points for Trey Holder. He's also getting rebounds, but you know what? Good on him. Let's see it again. Trey Holder way out for his career high of 35 points.
Trey Holder from deep. Now let's go to number 1 out on the ice where Jordan Nash Bolden, about 6 saves in 11 seconds. Look at this. She's relentless inside the net. That one, nope. They try it again. Nah, see ya. She was holding it down within the net. I mean, phenomenal job by her just keeping those pucks. Nah. A little bit of everything when they were trying to get in there.
Talk about a brick wall. Now, man, it's been such a great show, a great season for us. Well, I'd like to thank everyone behind the scenes, from the producers, the directors, Chiron, teleprompter, audio, camera, floor director, everyone, the PAs. Thank you so much. I haven't even named everybody.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for all your help. That comes from Chaz and myself. Well, Chaz, thank you for being such a great partner all season long. And for Chaz Frazier, I'm Eliav Gabay. For the rest of WCSN's content, check out CronkiteSports.com. Next week will be Braden and Spencer. We'll see you next time.